channel. My name is Hannah, and here I like to do bullet journal videos, vintage videos, as well as many others, usually to do with painting. This was requested on Instagram, I think a while back ago. Some people wanted to see a kind of stationery slash bullet journal supplies collection, and so also people wanted to see some swatches of different markers and Tombow brush pens and things like that. So in this video, the first half is going to be the markers, the brush pens, and the different pens that I use for my bullet journaling, as well as my essentials. And then also in the second half, I'll be going through like the different washi tapes that I have and the different kind of like supplies that I like to use with like kind of my painting supplies for my bullet journal. Now I have lots of art supplies. I actually was an art minor in college, so these are not all of my painting supplies. If that's something that you guys are wanting to see, do let me know. I have an entire cabinet that's just full of different kind of printing supplies, charcoals, pastels, oil, watercolor, acrylic, you name it. So if that's something that you guys want to see, I know some people like to see art supply collections and things like that, so do let me know. This is just a small quick video of kind of the basic things that I use, my absolute essentials, and then also swatches of things in an Archer and Olive journal, since I know some people like to see how those look in the journal itself if that's something that you're interested in buying. I hope that you guys enjoy this video. If you're wanting to see more, definitely do hit the subscribe button. And then also, if you're wanting to see more like behind the things and give input into videos that you want to see on my channel, you can check out my Instagram, which is linked below. And there I do a lot of polls and questions of like things that you guys want to see, an upcoming month's theme you guys can give input on. And I also post pictures of all the bullet journal spreads that I do, so you can see them in detail. So if you want to see the rest of this, keep watching. The most important thing for bullet journaling is in fact the bullet journal. I have the Archer and Olive 192 pages in deep green. Now I will go over everything that I like and dislike about the Archer and Olive, and also like starting a new one, because this is the part 2 book for 2020, and I will have the setup of this posted shortly after these stationery collection videos. So as I'll go over in this video, I have lots of different bullet journaling and art supplies, but my absolute essentials are these. I always have a white Sakura jelly roll pen, because if I make a mistake, I can cover over it with this white pen. I always have my refillable fountain pen, a pencil to set up all my weekly spreads and things like that. I always do everything in pencil first. I usually do the 005 and the 08 Sakura Micron Pigma pens for like setting up the weekly spreads themselves, so the lines and everything. And then these are the ones that I use for writing and all my details, is these Fudenoski calligraphy pens. And then this is my absolute favorite type of eraser, which I'll go into talking about why it is when I talk about my supplies. And then I always have a small plastic ruler to set up my weekly spreads. Now these are my absolute essentials, but I will be going over all of my different supplies, and I'll have all these swatched so you can see what they look like in the video to come. So first off, I started with the Crayola Super Tips, and I divided them by row 1 and row 2 so that you guys can easily match up the swatches. Now these are really popular for bullet journaling, and I've been trying to use them more this year, and I like them. I'm swatching them by the flat side and by the tip so that you can see how the full color is and then how thin the lines are. Now these look really nice on the crisp Archer and Olive pages, and they do not bleed through because of the Archer and Olive pages. The pages are 160 GSM, I believe, and they don't bleed through unless you of course put layer over layer over layer. Eventually it will bleed through, but so far I haven't had any problems. Now I've said I don't really use markers too often. Usually I ended up doing watercolor, but I am trying to use them more. I've really enjoyed using these for some of my retro spreads. Like in June, I was using very bold 60s and 70s colors, and we'll probably try to be using these more for that since the colors are so vibrant. I really do like using them for tracking. It's nice to use them for my habit trackers and things like that for different colors, and matching different markers for different moods for each month. Now these markers are very affordable. I can't remember how much I paid for them, but I know I got them on sale on Amazon. There are lots of them, so I'm going to leave you, and Narration Me will be back once all the swatching is done. So here's all the swatches up close. As you can see, the colors are very bright, and you can see how they look on the Archer and Olive pages. Now next up I have the Tombow Dual Brush Pens. Now I don't have a lot of these, I just have the pastel set plus one additional more. And the reason why is, one, they're a little bit pricey, and so I don't have a lot of them. And then two, if I'm going to do watercolor, I end up just doing the traditional watercolor palette, since that's what I'm so used to. I've always done watercolor that way, and so I kind of use these more as markers than as like watercolor utensils. I really love the pastel set because it's perfect for any time of the year for like any theme. And I ended up really like using them for like tracking as well, and for block lettering, kind of how I do with the Crayola Super Tips. And I just have this additional brown that I end up getting for like a November spread one time, and I do really like this brown. Now next up I have Zig calligraphy pens, as well as Italic CalliCreative calligraphy, I think is what they're called. I have them written down, but I just had these calligraphy pens for years. I don't even remember when I got them or where I got them, but I sometimes use them to use like block in big color things, so I decided to include them. Now these are the Sakura Pigma Micron pens, and these are the colored ones. I have the other Micron pens on another page. These are just very fine, 00 fine, I think it's purple, green, blue, and sepia. These are really wonderful for details. And then these, I have some gel pens. I really don't like gel. This is the reason why. You try getting the color out and it just doesn't come out, but I had these metallic ones. Now the one gel pen that I do like is the Sakura Jelly Roll in white. Now this is really nice if you layer it for white on black, and really good to cover up mistakes. Now here's just a close-up of how everything looks on the pages. The colors are very vibrant again on the Archer and Olive pages. Now the Zig calligraphy pens and the Tombow pens do not bleed through when you're using them. However, if you keep layering them, especially when they're wet, they will eventually bleed through the pages. Now the next page is for all my different markers and pens I use. Now the Sakura Pigma pen set is very old and I will need to be getting a new one, but these are my absolute must-have pen set for doing all the different lines and doing all the different details on my spreads. Now the Pilot Precise V7 pen is a little big and it bleeds sometimes, and these are the Tombow Fudenosuke pens. Here's the old ones that I've been using and the new ones that I just bought, so you can kind of see how they do over time. Those are my absolute favorite pens, as I said. And here's a Sharpie marker. I don't usually use the Sharpie marker, just when you do one line it doesn't really show, but sometimes it really will bleed through. Now lastly on this page is this iBiome like Micron fineliner pens. Now I've had these for about like 3 or 4 years, and I usually use them for my mood tracking and then for my like calorie burn tracking. I don't really use them for much else. The colors are very pretty and they don't usually bleed through, but I have 17, they're supposed to be 18. I've used up the black one in its entirely, so it's not on this page. Got it as a gift. I think it's from Amazon. It was a good price. Now I would say that if you're looking for really high quality color pens for detail and drawing, I usually use the Sakura Micron color, but these are very good as well. So here I thought I'd show my fountain pen. Now this is a reusable fountain pen that I've had for absolute eons. I don't remember when I got it, but you can use individual cartridges, refillable or like bought, and I decided I'm going to go with color since my old black one has been used up. And you just pop it in and you can wash these very easily, and I really prefer these, especially for writing. Now they can bleed and ink is can kind of like show through, so if you keep using layer upon layer it will bleed through, but I thought I would include this and how it writes. And you can flip it over on the other side. I forgot to do this to make it thinner, but they come in different sizes and I really do love fountain pens. Now here is some of the inks that I have. Now the white is awful, I never use it, and that's why it just doesn't show up no matter how many layers that I use. These are just some cheap JoAnns fabrics. I got them at the store, like it was just like a little set for $1.99. It was just a little set that they had, but this is the light pink, the dark pink, and the black, which I've used before on this channel. So here's just the overview of everything. Again, they usually don't bleed through unless you do multiple layers.
We're gonna get in trouble. Let's just get out of here.
As you can see, I have tons of washi tape, but I'll be going into them. I want to use more washi tape as the year goes on because I just have so much of it and I just haven't used it in the spreads like I should have. So I bought this washi set. I think I had a couple more. It was about a few years ago on Amazon. It has this dark like celestial one. And then it's like Blue Galaxy, Pale Sun, it's green, and then this pink. Whoop! There goes the pink. And it says it's Twilight masking tape, I think is what it says. I'll try to find the link for it, but I've used up some of these, but I really, as I've said, don't use all the washi tape that I could, and I want to use more of it. This was like, I can't remember the set, it had a ton more in it, but it was just, it was kind of like a, I think it was like a little miscellaneous set that this came in, and I really like these. I thought about doing like a Pride and Prejudice theme with these sometime. I really love them, they're just in different sizes. And this also came in like a miscellaneous set. These two are like really retro for me. This one I find is very kind of 60s and 70s. I really like it, but they were just teeny tiny washi tapes. I don't know what brand these are. Now these are my Scotch like duct tape ones. This one used to be like this, but I've obviously used a lot of it. This I got like 2 years ago. This I really liked using during Halloween. And this I haven't used as much as I would like, but I'd like to use it again. It's more of like opaque and transparent at the same time, so you can see. These I got at JoAnns for a set. I thought they were kind of cute. I've used them a little bit for like my daily entries, but again, I have not used as much washi tape as I could. I really like them. And these are kind of my miscellaneous. These are, I think, Scotch duct tape, and then this one was a JoAnns one as well. Now, when I do watercolor, sometimes it is good to tape something down with masking tape, so I always do have masking tape in case I want a clean edge on something. Now, for mistakes, I do have this just regular Bic whiteout, though usually I end up putting gouache or like white over it to cover something. And sometimes I need to clip something down, like if a page is coming up. Now, for gluing things down, if I'm going to glue stuff in, I just have this old Office Works glue stick. Now I do have this one that says it's like the school's glue stick. I do use that. And then I have this clear one. It's supposed to be like repositionable, and though sometimes that's nice, I feel like the things come up, like they'll come unstuck in the book. So I usually don't, I'm just trying to use this up to get rid of it. So if you want something to stick, I would recommend just using a regular glue stick. And then I have this, which I just got at JoAnns. It's just like simple tape that's double-sided that you peel off, and that's really nice, especially for Polaroids, when I like to put Polaroids in, because I can always take the Polaroids out instead of gluing them down. I have some miscellaneous stickers. This one was inside, I think, a Kate Spade planner from years ago, as well as this one. I think these came with the washi tape that I showed you. And here's some fall stickers. I was using these to seal some envelopes sent in the fall. And these were just some things taken out of an old planner that I used, actually one of them in my November planning. So I have some of those. I have an old Polaroid if I ever need to measure like what a Polaroid would look like on there for making like a little to-do list. I have this from an old Besame like newsletter thing. I thought if I ever do a retro theme I could use it. Here's just some watercolors that I've done. Some extra things. Now I have a lot of stamps. Now these are just simple like alphabet stamps. I got these at JoAnns for like $1.99 or like $2.99. I'm not going to go through all these. These were a stationery set. I'll lay these out and show videos of what all these look like laid out. I haven't really used a lot of these since February, but I want to introduce them again here in the coming months. So my favorite things to use are these like just small triangle rulers. I don't have a big one, though I do when I get one. And I do have these different erasers. Now this one is okay. You'll see these in a lot of different art stores. It's the Topic Graph A1. It does okay erasing things, but the page always gets stuck and ends up bending it. Now this is my absolute favorite eraser. This is the one, it was actually this size. I got it about 3 years ago. And I've spent eons trying to find it, and just last week I found it again. It's the General's Tri-Tip, and I have done multiple art classes. I've been an art minor in college, and this thing will literally erase anything, but it does it so gently that you can just barely rub it and it'll erase everything, so you're not always having bent pages. So I would definitely suggest, if you have something where they're using charcoal or graphite, you know, anything, this can take it up. It's really nice. Now I have so much painting supplies, but these are just the ones that I usually use for bullet journaling. I usually prefer gouache over watercolor if I'm trying to get something that's like a stronger color. I have those black and white, and then I have these in color. Now these are a lot older, but I still use them. These are just some tubes of like the Reeves watercolor I've had since high school, and I've had this since college, and I just keep using it. I cannot remember the brand for the life of me. I want to think that it is the Graham & Company, but I'm not sure, but it's a mess, but I just use it for bullet journaling instead of using my really large palettes that I use for my big watercolor paintings. Now for watercolor, I have lots of paint brushes, but these are my essentials. I have large round, I have the Robert Simmons 2, the Robert Simmons 2 again, and the Robert Simmons, I think it's 1. Now I usually have a lot smaller one as well. I think it's this one, yeah, the 220. Now I have a lot of paint brushes, but these are my essential ones. I think a really small one to average, and then a large one for big surfaces is really well. I always have these, and then I have my paints, but I always have a paper towel to blot my brushes off on. Now I do like to use ink. I used to do a lot of calligraphy, so I have this feather pen and these different calligraphy tips, as you can see. Now the pen I got at the Renaissance Festival, but these like little clips I believe are, let me look, the Speedball USA by Ross Face. And I do make my own inks. I'll show you guys here in a second. Ink powder with water and Arabic gum root. Now I use this for the Harry Potter theme in September, but I do have some of these. I don't use them a lot because sometimes the glitter from the metallic ink comes off on the pages. Now this is the case that I got a couple years ago. I don't use it too often, as I said, but when I like to do calligraphy, this is something that I like to use. So there's several colors, and this one is Solar Gold. This one is Silver. And then this one I think is just, it's gum Arabic. I've used up most of it. This is what you use to mix with water with the pigments to make them like set and stay. This one is Rose Gold. This one is Super Russet. This one is Rose. This one is Lavender. This is more gum Arabic. And then I believe this is also, yeah, it's more gum Arabic. And this one is Pearl White. And then this one is Aztec Gold. And lastly is this blue, which is called True Blue. And that's all of those. I create my own stationery and mail out my own cards, and so in case anyone's interested, this is just some of the envelopes that I use. I like to use these because they're pretty sturdy and you can get them. I actually got these on sale, but they're usually I think $6. But just in case people are curious about like if they want to do their own stationery, that's what I use. Sorry for the change in location in this one, but I had to go get these two. Now, this is like the little X-Acto board that I use to make my own letters. So I showed you the envelopes that I use to make my own stationery, and this is what I use to cut the cards that I make. I thought I'd include it in case someone was interested in it. It's just like a little X-Acto board. Now that's all I have for bullet journal supplies, but I have this entire cabinet as well as this one, and then another box full of art supplies. So if you ever want to see like painting supplies, do let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. As I said before, definitely do check out my Instagram and hit the subscribe button if you're wanting to see more. I just do these videos for fun and I enjoy hearing back from you all, so I hope that you guys enjoyed it. But I hope that you're all doing really well and staying safe. Happy bullet journaling!
I am just trying to eat my bagel. And now everybody wants my bagel. Come on, guys. Really? Turds. We're having these little vultures.